What if, like, instead of hailing a cab or waiting for the bus, you just, I don't know, thought about where you wanted to go and boom, a ride just shows up.
Like teleportation, but with self-driving cars.
Yeah, basically, no traffic, no parking nightmares, just like pure transportation efficiency. Sounds pretty utopian, right?
Yeah, definitely appealing. But hold on, what if this shiny, efficient future, isn't so equitable for everyone?
Right. Like who gets left behind in this quest for ultimate efficiency? That's exactly what Aminata Diallo is tackling in her project, Cartographies of Autonomous Justice.
I love how Diallo is not just like daydreaming about the future. She's like dissecting it,
Yeah.
using these really cool maps and diagrams to show how the law and just like human behavior could totally clash in this world of driverless vehicles.
So no more owning your own car. Everyone's just hopping into these shared autonomous vehicles.
Yeah, she calls it a decentralized autonomous transportation network, a DATN.
A DTN. Okay. So, like, imagine a city where all the cars and buses, maybe even some, like, flying vehicles, are all driverless and controlled by algorithms.
Exactly. Some might be public, run by the city, some private, run by companies. Like, I could see that happening. And each with its own set of rules, which is where things could get really interesting or messy, depending on how you look at it. And that's where Diallo's work gets super relevant.
Okay, so on the one hand, algorithms running everything sounds crazy efficient. But like you said, things could get messy. So Diallo is asking, can these systems actually be fair?
Right. Because we all know algorithms can be biased, right? Like, what if the algorithms designing these DATNs are trained on data that already reflects existing inequalities?
Like what? Give me an example.
Well, let's say the algorithm is trained on historical traffic data. It might end up sending more rides to wealthier areas just because historically there's been higher demand there.
Makes sense. Those areas probably had more people who could afford ride-hailing services in the past.
Exactly. So the algorithm might unintentionally create these transport deserts in lower income areas, leaving residents with fewer or just less reliable transportation options.
And I bet that's where those maps come in, right? Making these inequalities visible.
Exactly. Diallo's got this map of San Francisco, for example. It shows how an algorithm that's like laser focused on speed might totally bypass certain neighborhoods, maybe because of road infrastructure or just because there aren't as many ride requests coming from there.
It's kind of scary to think about how these seemingly neutral algorithms could actually reinforce existing inequalities.
That's why Diallo's work is so important. And her background is just perfect for this kind of research. I mean, she's a cartographer, obviously, but she also knows a lot about law and psychology. So she gets the technical side of DATNs, but also like the legal, ethical stuff, and even how all this could mess with our heads.
Yeah, you mentioned the psychology earlier. What did you mean by that?
Well, Diallo argues that, like, if we start relying on algorithms for all our transportation needs, it could lead to what she calls learned helplessness, I think.
Like helplessness.
Yeah, like people might feel less in control of their lives, less able to make decisions about how they get around, which honestly I can kind of see happening. Like if everything is automated, you just kind of become passive.
And that could have like a ripple effect on our communities too.
Right,
Yeah.
totally. Like imagine if people are so reliant on these automated systems that they stop interacting with their neighbors or going to local businesses. It could lead to more isolation, less of a sense of community.
So this is about way more than just getting from point A to point B.
Yeah.
It's about like the fabric of our society.
Absolutely. And the crazy thing is, Diallo doesn't just stop there. She's even thinking about how these ideas apply to like off-world settlements.
Wait, what? Like on Mars?
Yeah. She's asking how we build justice and equity into new societies from the ground up, whether it's like on another planet or, right here on Earth, which I think is super cool.
It's definitely some food for thought. As we keep moving towards this autonomous future, how do we make sure that justice and equity aren't just like afterthoughts? How do we make sure those values are like built into these systems from the very beginning? Diallo's work shows how important it is to ask these questions now.
100%. It's not about rejecting technology. It's about making sure that technology actually serves everyone.
So much to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Aminata Diallo's work. Really gets you thinking about the future. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to share it. These are conversations we all need to be having.
Yeah, definitely spread the word.
And that's it for this episode of Exploring Futures. We'll catch you